This is the original ROG phone. It's been 5 years since that launch, and in this time, most of Asus's changes to this phone lineup, it's been iterative. To give you some perspective, let's take a look at another gaming smartphone. This is the Nubia Red Magic all the way back in 2018. And this is the Nubia Red Magic 9 Pro that launched this year, right now, 2023 December. I'm sure you can see there's been a more drastic change with respect to build and design here. Now, to me at least, it felt like Asus's ROG phone lineup needed a shake-up. It was high time they made drastic changes, and that's exactly what Asus have delivered on here with the ROG Phone 8 Pro. Having used it for over a week now, I can honestly say this is the most non-gaming smartphone. As in, had Asus launched this exact phone as part of the Zenfone lineup instead of ROG, it wouldn't have really been too odd. So in today's video, let's first unbox the ROG Phone 8 Pro and then take a look at all the changes Asus have made. Hey guys, my name's Ash, you're watching C4 Tech, and let's get started. So this is the box the ROG Phone 8 Pro comes in. Now there are two versions of the 8 Pro. There's the standard version and then there's this, the one Asus calls the Pro Edition. Basically, this comes with a new Aero Active Cooler in the box. As always, it's a cool box and the first thing you see on opening it up is the ROG Phone 8 Pro. My first thought picking it up was, man, this is light. And it actually is. At 225 grams, it's almost the same weight as many mainstream flagships. And it's a good 20 grams lighter than its predecessor. Now the numbers, they don't really do it justice. Asus told me they're gonna have this phone on display at Vijay sales in India. So if you do get a chance, try picking it up, try feeling it for yourself. The weight distribution, it's so good. This phone feels lighter than it actually is. Coming back in the box, the next thing we have is this case. If you get the standard Pro version, the non-edition one, you get a different case. Next, we have this pouch for the Aero Active Cooler, followed by a 65-watt charger. 30 watts for India is what I'm hearing. Sad. We then have a USB Type-C to Type-C cable, followed by the new, smaller Aero Active Cooler. So this time we're back to only 2 buttons on the cooler, so a few things have been changed. And as you can see, there's nothing to actually blow air in, because there is no vent on the ROG Phone 8 Pro, because this phone, it has an IP68 rating. Like I said, they've gone for a more mainstream flagship this year. Even the thickness, it's down substantially by more than 1.5 millimeters. In hand, the ROG Phone 8 Pro feels more like a Pixel than a gaming phone. The back has a matte finish to it and it's very comfortable to hold. Now though the sides and the display are flat, there is a slight curve at the edges which makes this ROG phone a lot more ergonomic. And even from a look standpoint, the entire back is very stealthy, and see this? They call this anime vision, and if you don't turn it on, you don't even know there are LEDs here. Like I said, very stealthy. Now let me walk you through the sides. We have the capacitive keys alongside the power and volume buttons to the right. There's also a microphone here. The left just has a USB 3.2 Type-C port. That's where the cooler plugs in. Barring that, you just have the antenna bands. Beat it up, this port also allows for video out. The top's clean, save for a solitary microphone. And the bottom, here's where you find a USB Type-C port, SIM tray, primary mic, speaker, and headphone jack. Now for those wondering about the audio output, the earpiece does pull double duty, so the output is quite loud and clear. Here, have a listen. At a time where bezels are being cut down a lot, even on budget phones, sacrificing the front-firing speakers, I feel that's a trade-off Asus has been forced to make. Personally, I do miss it, but I also understand why it needed to be done. So as you can see, the bezels, they're super slim, and this means the ROG Phone 8 Pro is a whole 10mm shorter than its predecessor, despite having the exact same size display. It's even slightly narrower, and as we saw, much slimmer and lighter. Now the display here, like I said, the size is unchanged, 6.78 inches, but it's now covered by Corning's Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and this time the panel they're offering is Samsung's E6 OLED. The resolution is Full HD+, refresh 165Hz. There is support for LTPO technology, but with that, the refresh varies between 1 to 120 Hz, so if you want 165, you're gonna have to manually choose it. Now this is quite a bright panel. Asus advertises it as being capable of hitting up to 2500 nits for HDR content. Now under manual mode, it can output a much above average 850 plus nits. Under auto, it goes up to almost 1800 amongst the brightest panels we've seen in recent times. So this is definitely not going to pose any issues for use outdoors. Now for the first time, we are getting a hole punch on a ROG phone. Now some people might not be fans of this, but again, given the revamp in design, this is a change Asus had to make. Or technically they could have gone with an under display camera, which cool as it might sound, I don't think it's a good solution. The technology, it's just not there yet. What do you think? Do you prefer these 32 megapixel shots? Do you feel a hole punch is better, at least as of today? Let me know in the comments below. Now for the hole punch averse, Asus does provide us with an option to either move the game screen to the center or align it to one side. Now another trade-off is the notification LED, which has always been present on ROG phones. Not here, not this time. Asus though does allow for notification icons to pop up on screen, so you still get to know you have a notification, and now you'd even know which app it's from. Of course, this is apart from your always-on functionality, which is available. Now for the cameras, we've seen other gaming phones go totally flat. Asus, they've kind of gone the other way with it. This is the thickest camera array we've ever seen on the ROG line. And there's good reason for the thickness. We have 3 solid cameras here. The primary is a 50 megapixel Sony IMX890, a flagship camera sensor that we've seen used on many flagships this year. It's paired with an optically stabilized f1.9 lens, and there is gimbal stabilization too. What you're seeing here is 4K 60 footage captured via this camera, and see how darn stable it is. And this was shot under fading light, and still the footage turned out so good. This is probably the best optics I've ever seen on a gaming phone. It's not gonna compete with Pixels, the iPhones, the Vivo X100 Pros, but it's still pretty darn good. And of course it can shoot 8K footage, it maxes out at 8K 24, and still images even under low light, pretty impressive. Now the secondary is a 13 megapixel ultra wide, an Omnivision sensor, and it seems well optimized. The colors were quite closely matched. And the third camera was in fact a pleasant surprise to me. Now this is available only on the Pro version. This is a 32 megapixel Samsung paired with a f2.4 telephoto lens, which is also optically stabilized. So we've gone from no OIS to OIS on 2 sensors in just one generation. Seems like a win for the consumers, and like I said, Asus have drastically changed things this time. Now before we jump to software, a quick shout out to video sponsor AyaNEo. This is the AyaNEo Kun, one of the best Windows handhelds available in the market today. Now, if you don't mind larger devices, this one has a huge 8.4-inch 1600p display, almost twice the battery capacity of an ROG Ally, Hall sensor sticks and triggers, trackpads just like the Steam Deck, and it can run stable at a TDP of 54 watts. Hell, it even has an IR camera for Windows Hello Face Unlock. Now this one, it has a full-sized USB Type-A port. It's got a couple of USB 4 Type-C ports which allow for external GPU use. Right from the box it ships in to the internals used, the AyaNEo Kun, it screams premium. Now to know more about this handheld, check out the link in the description below. Now coming back to the ROG Phone 8 Pro, on the software side of things, this one is running on Android 14. You can either have it look like this, all gamery, or like this, much closer to stock. Now, yes, this is something Asus have always allowed for, but now on a phone that doesn't really scream gaming, having a UI that looks and feels very stockish without any preloaded bloat or ads, I can once again see how the ROG Phone 8 Pro might be an attractive option for someone who's not even a gamer. To go back to what I said at the start, this is the most non-gaming gaming phone. Okay, I've said a lot of nice things, so let's talk cons for a bit. Asus still goes for a 2+4 update promise, and that is just not acceptable in my humble opinion. 3+4 is the bare minimum these days, and for what they're expected to charge here, I think 4 years of Android version updates, 5 years of security patches is not too unrealistic an ask from the consumers. I really think this is one area where Asus could have, actually should have done better. Now moving on, under the hood, of course they've got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 running the show. This is paired with up to 24 gigs of fast LPDDR5X RAM and up to a terabyte of UFS 4.0 storage. The battery capacity this time, it's seen a slight cut down. It's 5500 mAh, but Asus claim between the new energy efficient 8 Gen 3, the LTPO tech and all that, the actual battery life should only be 2% lesser than what we saw on the ROG Phone 7, which, as we all know, had exceptional battery life. With the included 65-watt charger, globally at least, the ROG Phone 8 Pro is expected to reach full charge in 39 minutes, which is not bad. And there's also support for wireless charging this time around, a first for a gaming phone. Now, all the gaming related functionality that we've come to know and love from ROG phones, they all return here, they're all present and accounted for. And as I wrap up, let me actually show you the setup game that Asus has for the ROG Phone 8 Pro. Now, this is an unboxing and first impressions video, and unlike most phones I cover on C4E Tech, the ROG Phone 8 Pro was sent to me by Asus, and I have an embargo to adhere to, so I've not been able to show you my benchmark scores or 3D mark numbers. I will post them on my socials on the 16th when the embargo lifts, so you can follow me at C4E Tech on X or join our Discord and ask me any questions you might have. That said, of course, this video was not approved by Asus or anything. Everything I say is just my own honest opinions, but I do have a limit on what I'm allowed to reveal and what I'm not. So anyways, I guess that's it for this video. Now guys, I do not have any official pricing information as of now, but if I were to hazard a guess based on Asus's historical pricing, I'd say the ROG Phone 8 should start at around 70,000 rupees and the Pro at around a lakh. Globally, I'd have to say the 8 should be priced at around the $900 mark, the Pro 1300. Now, by the time this video drops, you will have the actual pricing info. So let me know what you think about the pricing. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.